Single fins have been around for over a century, but which one is right for you? I've got 7 incredible boards to showcase today, ranging from a 610 stringerless Wayne Lynch replica through to an 8.9 Gato Heroi Speed Acid with effortless glide. They force you to slow down and feel the wave and connect with the roots of surfing. Think Michael Peterson's carving up Kirra in Morning of the Earth, or Wayne Lynch's era-defining turns in that shortboard revolution. These boards are about flow, finesse, and an appreciation for our tradition of surfing. These 7 boards stand out for very different reasons, and I'll take you through why. And also I'm going to show you what could possibly be the fastest surfboard I've ever surfed. First up, I want to show you this Wayne Lynch replica. This board is number 4 of 50, and I think it was shaped around the year 2000, so it's a quarter of a century old already, and it's signed by Wayne Lynch himself. You can see here Wayne Lynch's signature, and it's number 4 of 50, limited edition. And down here you've got a period correct logo where they missed the E in involvement. The beautiful Jimi Hendrix style logo there. It's just a special board, and it cost way too much, but I really enjoy surfing it. This is a stringerless 610. It's about 20 inches wide and about 2 15/16 thick, and it's a pretty flat rocketed, eggy pintail. And interestingly, it has a little double concave in it. If I had to guess, I think this board is about 42 litres based on how it floats me compared to my other boards. And I'm riding this with an 8-inch Christensen fin, which is that FCS type which you can move up and down the box. If you want it to turn tight and be twitchy, you put it forwards. If you want it to be slower, wider arc turns and bigger waves, you move the fin back in the box. When I got this board from a museum where it was on display, it came with this 9-inch flex fin, which is pretty radical, and this is based on the George Greenough design of tracing a dolphin's fin apparently. But I actually prefer this 610 with an 8-inch Christensen fin because you just don't need this much fin in this board. It seems to be a better balanced fin. As I show you the boards today, I'm going to show you what fin I've paired with them and tell you about why that is. But this Christensen fin is a really practical fin. This board is actually a full gloss polish. It seems quite well made. It's not too heavy, but something I noticed about it, when I surf this board, it has this absolutely incredible feel as though whoever shaped it, which was Wayne Lynch, really understood the board dynamics and how a board surfs in the waves, because it's got some special feeling. I've bought other boards to surf instead of this because it's such a precious board, and I don't think I'd ever sell this board, but they don't surf the same as this. This is a very special board, and I'm so glad to have been able to experience it. But if you want a board that's wired more for big point breaks, then the next board's the one you want to have. Next up, I've got this acid drop. It's by Gato Heroi. You can see this label here. It's got this beautiful cedar stringer, and at 710, I'm riding this board with a Ryan Lovelace 8.5-inch True Ames fin. It's just a magic fin in this board. I think he has a lot of experience with the rolled bottom type boards, but this board is a special board because it's a speed shape, so you can see it's wide point forward, but it's fairly pulled in the nose and the tail. It has a rolled entry, and then it has a slightly higher stringer than the rails and a little double concave in here, which makes it unbelievably smooth with its glide, and it accelerates. It also has these pinched rails and a very flat rocker, so it just speeds up, and then you can jam the rail into a hollow sort of a wave. I just love this board. I've ridden it so many places. The very first time I rode it was at the Bower in Manly, and I knew as soon as I took off, there's something special about this board. Then I've taken it to Crescent Head, I've surfed it out at the points, in Noosa here, and I've even had a little bit of damage repair just on the nose there. It's a nice little repair there, because I've used this board a lot. It's my go-to board for point breaks. Pretty hard to beat. But one thing's really interesting. This is 710. It's about 21.5 by 2 7/8, and I'm guessing around 52 litres. They don't publish it. I love the acid drop so much that I've had 3 of them. The first one I got was 611 and it was designed for me to ride instead of the Wayne Lynch, but it didn't ride as well and I couldn't paddle it around as easily. Then I got the 710 Gato Heroi and it is just so good, and I wanted to travel, but I had a 7.6 board bag. So I got this 7.4 and I took this to the Maldives, and I've ridden this board heaps. Actually on that trip, one of my other boards got damaged and I sold one of the other boards to another guy on the trip who ran out of boards. So this 7.4, I rode it pretty much every day, and the same deal, rolled bottom into this V out the back. It's super versatile. This one is a lot of fun. I've paired this with an 8.5 inch skip fry fin. Doesn't need too much fin because it's a pretty narrow tail and it's a fairly small board at 7.4 for me at 98 kilograms and 6'2". But if I could only have one Gato, then it would definitely still be the 710. It's just an unbeatable board. We're going to take a look at another 710 single fin. I'm going to show you how different they can actually be with a different bottom shape and rail shape. So let's have a look at that one. Here we have a 710, and this one's by Mitch Sermon, and it's based on the Void model. And it's so different to the previous 710. It's got a more pulled in nose and a more pulled in tail. It's only 21 inches wide, but it has thicker rails, and the bottom contour is quite different on this board. It's flatter in the front, whereas the other one was rolled, and then it goes into a single concave and then into a V. So it's a very simple plan shape. I've paired this board with a George Greenough 9-inch 4A True Aims template. It's just the perfect fin, and it's right forward in the box because this box is so far back. When I first put the fin in the board, it felt a bit dull until I moved it forward, more and more forwards, and then the board turned on. I could probably ride a slightly smaller fin in this board, but when it's very big, I just want to make sure that it's really going to hold me on that first bottom turn, and this just works. Plus, I think it looks magnificent. This red fin with white board is iconic period theme. And the fin box on this board is further back. Now what I've noticed about this board is it's not quite as agile in small to medium waves because it doesn't have the pinch rails or the more rolled bottom. But it really is super, super smooth as the medium to large waves come. This is more of a semi-gun. It's glassed very thick. You can see that opaque glass there through behind the stringer there, and it's a bit heavier, I think, but these rails, they are slightly shaved off at the edges, a bit like you might see in something like an album. And this more pulled in tail and more pulled in nose means this board actually duck dives better than the Gato. It is smoother and more stable on very big waves, and so for that reason I really only take this board out in very good waves. I won't take it out in small waves. It doesn't like it. It's not as responsive. It's just a get your line and go down the line with some small variances type board. But if the waves get even bigger, the next board I want to show you steps up to 8'9". So let's check it out. Here we have an 8'9" Gato Heroi Speed Acid. This is also a speed shape, wide point forward. It's got a rolled entry through to a V, a very subtle bottom, and you can see this spectacular glassed in fin. I think it's about 9.5 inches, but it's not too wide at the base, which is lucky because it's a pretty narrow tail on this board. And it's gathering a bit of dust. Why? Because I only take this board out if it's 6 foot plus at the points. It is absolutely magic. It is like the smoothest thing, but the thing that's special about this board is the rails. I think these might be the most pinched rails of anything I've got. I mean, they are just like blades. This thing has got flat rocker, bladed rails. It's like a lemon tart. Absolutely crazy outline, beautiful cedar stringer. The thing is, you have to be pretty gentle with this board in terms of balance. It's pretty finicky because it's got such narrow rails. You have to maintain your balance, but it's like a big long ski. Once you get down that wave face and you dig that rail into the side, it just goes. I don't take this out in small waves. It doesn't like small waves. It's a good wave board. It's 8'9" by 22 by 2 7/8, and I think it's probably about 57 litres. Paddles beautifully just because of how flat it is, but it's really only a good wave board. So if you have a lined up point break, this thing is terrific. All the boards I'm showing you, none of them are bigger than 8-9 today because I've already done a video of 9+. So if you're interested in bigger single fins, check that out. But this is a good wave board. The next board I'm going to show you is a really versatile board that you can ride in anything from tiny waves to quite big waves. And it's got something special about it. Let's check it out. Look at this special board. It's a Christensen Flat Tracker version 2. I had version 1. I picked it up from Christensen in California, surfed it at the local break stand. It was amazing, but it was too flat rocketed and too rolled in the nose. And I sold that board, and then a few years later I got this. And this is 8 foot long. It's about 21.5 inches wide, and it's almost 3 inches thick, I think. So it's probably at least 52 litres. Oh yeah, 20.5 by 3. I'm using a Christensen fin in there. I've just got an 8.5, but it also likes the 4A 9-inch fin as well, depending on how big the waves are. But the thing about this board, they've fixed the rocker. It's got a really beautiful rocker, has a slightly rolled entry, and then it has that stringer line that is below the rails and this lovely double concave going into a V. What it means is this board works in such a good wave range. You can ride it in 1 foot point breaks. I've ridden it at beach breaks. I've ridden in quite large waves, and that rocker just allows it to work. Think of it like a performance longboard. It's only 8 foot instead of 9. It's like without all that swing weight and all that bulk, much easier to carry. It's still beautifully made. I mean, look at this incredible cedar stringer. You got the amazing Christensen logo, seriously probably the best logo of any board. And have a look at these rails. They're pinched in the nose, and then they start to get a little bit bitey here in the tail, and it's got that pulled in squash tail. So this is what makes it so fast in medium conditions instead of a pintail. And these rails still allow it, even though it's quite wide and thick, it doesn't feel as thick when you're sinking that rail into a hollow wave. So, and I just love this volant patch and the extra reinforcement around the fin box. Really well made. This was from Rhino. I love this board. Probably the most versatile single fin here so far. But the next board I want to show you was a custom order designed for speed. Let's check that out. These guys are known for their design. This is Gato Heroi Co. And it's a double stringer, 7/6 narwhal custom. And you can see it's got these channels. I covered this board in the channel bottom video that I made, but it's a single into double concave V with channels, single fin. So there's very little friction here in this board, and I'm running it with this beautiful NVS Ola fin, OLA. And this is 8.5 inches, and it's made with G10. I love these fins. This board is fast, and I've got it designed to travel with because firstly it has to fit in the board bag, and 7/6 fits into a board bag better than an 8 or a 9 foot board. But there's heaps of volume in this. It's probably about 56 litres. It's 3 inches thick, 22 inches wide, and it's still got that pointy nose. So I wanted to be able to take off on steeper waves. I wanted to be able to paddle around in tiny waves and have all this speed. And it's worked. It's really good. Actually, it's in my top 5 fastest boards that I've taken out to the local point. I like the rail spray they did on this one as well. And I think this is just a really fun board. I'm still trying it in different conditions. You can order these in different fin configurations, but it's just a pure single. And I was really inspired to order this after I sold a 7.2 channel bottom single fin, and I really like diamond tails. You've seen a few diamond tails in my quiver, and they just work for me, whether it's a twin fin or a single fin. They've been spot on. Now the next board I want to show you is probably the fastest board that I've ever surfed. It's definitely the fastest single fin. It's just remarkable. And here it is, the single fin that blew me away. This one is a Vouch New Evo, and yeah, okay, it's got side bites. It's not technically a single fin, but it is. This is called a Widowmaker setup, and this board was to replace a CI mid that I had. I had a 710 CI mid, And it was a great board, but very flat rocketed, and I found it a little bit limiting in some of these point breaks that were a bit hollow. So I went for a 7.6, which is kind of my favourite mid-length size. 7.6, 21 3/4, which is pretty wide, 2 7/8. I'm guessing this board's somewhere around 52 litres, but they don't publish that and it doesn't really matter. But wow, this board is something else. It's got a beautiful rocker. It has a lovely outline. You can see that it's got a medium-sized nose. It's kind of pulled in at the tail a little bit, but it's still got that rounded width, and that width is what gives it the speed. It is so fast. I clocked almost 40 kilometres an hour, almost 400 metres on a wave on this board. I've surfed it in a cyclone swell, up on a remote beach where we had full drive access. I've taken it out to my favourite wave at the points, surfed it in the beach in 1 foot. It's just so versatile, and partly because of the bottom contour. This thing has an incredible double concave going on. It is like a jet out the back here, and these fins just harness the jet. And one thing that Vouch do that I think makes such a difference, apart from the fact that they have decades of experience, they hand shape everything, they always pair the board with the fins. And you know, this whole channel's blown up because of the fins. I'm telling you, fins make a difference. And what they do here is they give you the fins for the board that work for the board. And this thing, straight out of the box, just went like crazy. And you can see I always mark my boards where the fin should go. I'll try different fin positions, but this fin position where I've marked it is perfect. And often on a single fin with side bites, the rear fin is going to be somewhere close to the back of the front fins. Now it's a little bit back there because I tend to ride it in slightly bigger waves and I want more stability in those conditions. But look at these rails, they're slightly pinched in the nose and they're quite full down the back. And then they start to bite about here, which is a little bit earlier than some other boards, and it really just breaks the water and gets you that pace. So Paul Hutchinson has done it again. I think I've had, I don't know, 7 or 8 of these Vouchers. They're hand-shaped in Byron Bay, and I'm just so impressed. Like, this is the one single fin that I could ride in any conditions, that will last forever, that is super versatile, high recommendation. If you've been riding the standard ones that everyone's tried and you haven't tried one of these yet, this will just take things to the absolute next level. So there you go. We've talked about everything from the 610 stringerless Wayne Lynch replica through the Gato Heroes. We've got the glidey sort of 8.9s for good waves. We've got the travel board. We've got the versatile, smaller than a longboard type stuff, and then the semi-guns. I think this one's my favourite. What's your favourite single fin? Have you tried a single fin? Do you have one in the quiver? Let me know in the comments below.